Hello there, welcome back everyone. My flagship is almost near completion as far as the body is concerned. We just gotta figure out how to connect this component here to nose, and then flesh it out in a way that we don't have this little slope here, which is a bit I'm not really actually liking too much, so we're gonna have to add a little bit more here. Also, I managed to figure out what was causing the issues down below, and it was this missing piece here. I managed to place that in and got that corrected. And I think with what I had in mind about correcting the bottom piece, I think what I want to do, I don't know, I considered the idea of stretching it, but of course it's going to cause like issues as far as texturing is concerned, but I was wondering, maybe instead, if I just put this over, I don't know if I actually want to do it this way, but just use this as like the bulkhead to kind of help get rid of some of that slope, that curve at least underneath that might be a bit of an issue. Instead, use this to actually add some additional superstructure to it there. Because at least that way, we can make it look more to form. That is the theory anyway. We're going to have to try and figure out how to get this metal trim at least consistent. I don't think anyone's going to really notice that, although it is going to be apparent, isn't it? And then what we can do is add a little more superstructure underneath this. That way we don't have this stupid curve on the bottom, like we do with this curve now up on the top here. So we'll try and correct both those. And if it looks presentable, then the main body will be complete. And we just got to put a couple of shell pieces on to kind of get a nice constant look to it. Now, what the hell do I put on there to kind of do just that? What the hell do I put on here? Because, let's see, we could put this on the bottom maybe, as the very end. I see that possibly working. The only thing I really hate is those little pegs that stick out on the side. I don't know what to make of them, and they kind of hurt any options any opportunity I like to give something that looks decent. That's my only real concern with this at first. But it could fit in there well. Big if though. We'll have to see, because it's again hard to tell with everything kind of. Well, what am I trying to say? Well, the texture is kind of shaded there, so it's kind of hard to really tell, aside for this little tiny metal line. And it's also a little bit low, so maybe I need to change the scaling up, make it bigger or taller. Let's see, and then I have to move it down to kind of compensate a little bit. And there's the problem there. Need to get a... Oh, that's the wrong axis too, go figure. And that explains why that wasn't working as I thought. There, that should help a little bit. Now we need to add a little more. And the problem is we need some kind of circular superstructure component to kind of connect to that. To get a nice constant look there, because I want it to stay within that metal trim there too, which is another thing. So that shouldn't be too difficult. What would be a good piece though? What would be a good circular piece? Because I don't think because of that a block is going to work, is it, all that well? I want to say no. I really want to say that's not going to work as well as I like. I wonder if I even want to invert it upside down, even, for that matter. It's not... We're going to have a little bit of an odd metal trim there, if I do it this way. Interesting. Maybe I widen it a bit first, so that way it connects with the side some. And maybe that could work some fashion, I'm just not sure. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. We just need smaller pieces on the side there, kind of round it out. Which I think I got an easy answer for that. I'm just going to put a piece like this in here. We're going to mirror it. And then fit it to form. It's going to be shrunk down quite a bit, but hopefully that should get what I'm looking for. Again, another problem. A minor problem is the blocky end though, which probably could be alleviated a little bit. We'll see. Because let's shrink it down to size. Shading is again still going to be a bit of an issue. And how does it look when I extend the set axis some? Metal trim is still connected to everything, so it's not too bad. It's not perfectly flushed out, though. So let's do that. There, that's not bad. Not bad at all there. Still not quite connected just yet. Oh god. Also, I think I decided, now that I actually have thought of it, of getting rid of this tail. Oh, can't remove it because I gotta get rid of the engines first. So I think this is actually gonna go once I get the right component selected. It's not working very well. I'm just gonna put that right now. There we go. And I think that actually looks a little bit better. If only a little bit. Still, maybe could put something on here. Maybe that's where I should put the fin now that I think of it, but we'll get to that later when it gets to that point. Let's try and finish this out somehow. And now the more I look at it, the more I dislike this component actually, so maybe let me just put one more here, and maybe this component could do it if I would like to see if the bottom, the flat portion will work in some way. I don't think it will, but I'd like to give it a try. I want to give it a right old good try there, see if it actually works. It's gonna have to fit in back there. Side, of course, because it's narrow, is gonna have to be adjusted with something. A little bit thinner. Almost to the point I want to sink it in a good amount of the way and then stretch it out with the set axis. Now, how far do I want to stretch? Is that okay or not? I don't think it is quite yet, but thankfully, that's why we have a gap here. We can fill it out with something. Question is, what do we fill it out with? I think I'm content to use this component here. It's got more of that lighting there. That could work. I just need a goddamn proper connection point. I think that I found it there. I think that's kind of the best I'm gonna get, quite frankly. I do need a copy though. So let's invert that, shrink it down, see how it looks. Maybe I don't want it this way now that I think of it. Let me actually... There, let me try and invert it that way, see if that does any better. I lose the lane though, but I can live with that. There's still a lot of, like, shelling to put in. Alright, set axis, stretch you out. In a way that works, maybe. Oh, there we go. Maybe I'm wrong. How does that seem? Not bad, but I know one subtle way to improve it. I hope this works. The fairy tip, if I got that in the right spot, is going to be have this component sticking out. I just don't know if I want to rotate which way or not. Which way I want to rotate it. Because, let's see. How do I want that to look? Because this is going to be a little tricky to kind of observe, I think. Well, maybe not as bad as it is. At least now I can get a good idea of what its offset position is like. And I might want to shrink the set axis some, so that way it's not intruding out of the back like it is now. Okay, rotate you in a way. I'm not sure how I want that to look, to be honest. Okay, I think I got it now. Actually, I don't think I didn't want anything sticking out. That probably is a better option. Instead, have this sticking out. Just gotta get a proper positioning, get the rotating fixed. I don't know. How does that seem? It's barely noticeable, which kind of is a probably a good thing. Quite honestly. Well, as soon as I say that, we got this big massive hollow space in the middle. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, how do we fix this in a way that looks presentable? Because I had completely forgotten about the centerpiece, if I were to be perfectly honest. That could be a bit problematic, but something big and blocky is an easy fix, but we gotta make it still look decent. Regardless, so that's something to keep in mind as we put this in. Because just filling it out is not going to be good enough. That might be an interesting use of inverting the texture some. I'm not sure if that's good or not. It almost seems like it needs to be widened a tiny bit. Maybe? No, it's starting to stick out there. So that plugs it, but what exactly does that do for me? An even better question, do I invert it upside down? Does that look better? Possibly, but now we got that hole. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know if I like it, because this is just a simple fix, but what the hell are you supposed to do with a big massive opening like that anyway? Especially when you got components inside there for like cosmetic purposes. I am not really sure. I'm gonna have to really think on that. Even then, it's not actually that bad. It's just a quick fix though, which doesn't seem... I don't like that concept a little bit. Oh, and I think I noticed that this portion component's not like placed properly, so I need to fix that some too, I think. Center it a tiny bit. I guess that's good enough. Let me... Actually, I might have to set axis back. And I guess that's okay there. We got little vents anyway, if nothing else. I'm just wondering if there's any way I can improve that component. Because it seems like it can move up some. That seems like a little bit better. I'm just not honestly sure because it's intruding on the other component now. Damn it. This is not a simple fix. And when I rotate like that, it gets even worse. Oh boy, this is going to be a hassle, isn't it? I guess really anything could work. So long as it doesn't look like a flat area there, if nothing else. Alright, so that's in. I guess that helps some. Maybe not much, to be perfectly honest, but it helps a little bit. Now we gotta figure out how to fill out this component. Because I don't want to stretch this out. If anything, I kind of want to shrink that in more. Because we're going to be putting a new component in its place, so... Do offset in. I'm kind of content leaving it there, because it's pretty damn close to the metal frame, so... If I want it, somehow would that look? Shrink down the set axis some, and then I'll have to put it in place again. I'm just wondering how that will look. The metal trim there is starting to get a little nice and consistent, but how do I make this look good? Because no matter what, I think I want to keep that lane there, but then we're going to have this weird curvature. So, what ideas do I have for doing this? Because we have a bunch of shells, which I'm obviously going to put on at some point, but they're going to be hollow pieces, so... Do it require filling out there? Huh. This is interesting. That was not what I expected to have, because it fits almost right in there. Almost completely. I don't know if it's most ideal, but we get more lighting. The metal trim there is not perfect. I'm almost content just putting it deeper in. Although that lighting's gonna be a little bit in the dome piece there, and I don't think I like that. But as a good concept overall. How does it look when I put it deeper in, though? Or even better question. Let me try flipping over again, see how it looks. That's not exactly the same, though. If I were to be honest. I'm not sure. It almost looks like this is a movable piece now, because it almost seems like that perfectly fits with that component. It looks like it slides forward and back, which I don't think I want. Here maybe, might be okay, I'm not sure. It's got the same, almost the exact same height, but maybe instead I want to lower this piece here. That might help fix it. If I can select it somehow. That's going to be a nightmare. Because there's so many components now. The AI, the programming, the game, is going to go out of whack. Just trying to figure out what component I'm trying to select. Oh. So that's going to make things interesting, isn't it? Not to mention metal trims getting thrown off too. At the very least, this is easy enough to select. So, they're laying safe there. That's kind of almost a form, almost. Maybe if I put in all the completely, maybe that'll look good. Texturing looks pretty good there, with this little slight piece here. So, that was surprisingly simple. We just need now to work on the lighting. Shell pieces on the side, lots of lighting components, so this is going to be interesting to figure out. I don't know how simple a process is going to be, if I were to be perfectly honest. Because I had a bit of an issue just with that shell piece in the back, trying to figure it out. These shells are interesting to play with, needless to say. And I don't want to touch the top piece and all there. I think I want a completely separate shell piece for that. And because of the odd curvature of these shells, it's going to take a little bit of rotation work, I think, too. Maybe a little bit. Unless I want to keep these shells as small pieces somehow. Would that be a good idea? Although, how exactly would that look, or work even, if I were to do that? Because we would need a lot of shell pieces overlapping, and then we're going to have this weird, odd look just for the sake of getting the lighting. So, let me just think about this. What kind of lighting options do we have here? We have the side of this component here. If we go with like half this piece sticking out, maybe that could work. Only problem is it's going to look very similar to the front. Even if I can get it to fit in there somehow, I don't think it's going to work the way we'll like. Especially since that front piece is very likely to be sticking out. So, gotta be careful about that, regardless of what I do. And the metal trim's gonna be a nightmare to try correct too. I want to add a nice consistent lighting theme at this point. That's really all I want as far as how we're gonna continue, but I don't really know what to expect. That's not bad there. If you look from afar, it's not bad, but what fixing is required? This cockpit area is actually not intruded at all. The back portion will need a little bit of fleshing out, but otherwise I think we're okay with it. I think. Now, how do we fill out this back here and connect it to the center tower? Normally I like these components and like this dome piece is this nice simple fix, but is that really what I want? Do I want to continue on with more lighting there, or do I just put plain superstructure to it? Actually, what happens if I sink in a little bit more, because it's almost in connection with that metal frame there. No, it's sinking in too much. So that might be problematic. Unless I adjust scaling a bit more, that might help. Gotta be very careful about this, like, metal here. That's the only big concern there, I think. This is not gonna look pretty, I can tell you right now. Unless I'm really lucky. Which I don't think is gonna work out. Yeah, there's gonna be that little metal tip sticking out. It's not gonna be the best looking. Unless I rotate a different way. Will rotating like this be okay? There'll be a couple lights there. Mostly top will be sticking out. I don't know if I'll like that. Because then I'll have to wind it so it can seem like it fits in flush, but that's not gonna work out, is it? I'm not honestly sure. It's pretty damn close as it is now, though, I gotta say. I don't really want to ruin that, it's just that tip. Little metal tip there is a bit problematic. That I dislike. It's so close otherwise. Oh well, we'll worry about that I guess a bit later. Let me try to put a bit of a lighting up top here. The only problem is I would love just a simple component that just sticks out. I don't think there's really any component that does that though, is there? Not really. Unless... Can this work in some way? Only thing is I don't want to stick out. I just want it to be very subtle lighting. I don't want it to actually stick out. I just want the lighting to appear on top. That's really all I like. I don't know how it's gonna look. Especially since there might be inconsistent, might be inconsistent there. I don't know what I'm saying. I just think one side is gonna look a little bit higher or different than the other. That's my fear there. I think I want to flatten it and keep it wide though. And try and sink it in as flush as I can and try and figure out where the center is even. That's going to be a bit of an issue. And how low can I make it? I almost wonder if I want to ridiculously stretch the Y so the metal trim touches. Only problem is when I finally reach there, the texture is going to be so stretched out. Unless I connect two of them together, then we're going to have this weird little curve. Only problem I have with that, but it would solve a little bit of issues, but how's it look when I sink it in there? That's pretty good. That's pretty good there, but I would almost need 3 of those, actually, if I'm going to do that. I don't know if that's going to look the way I would like. Let's give it a try, I guess. Let's give it a try and see. Because we're making good progress. This thing's pretty much just about ship ready. It's just putting some final touches that I like to try and do. Because the weekend's about here, so it's time to get some real work done as far as the new campaign, so hopefully I can get that done relatively easily. Here's hoping. And then we can be done with these ship designs that go on forever. And start on with a new race, new ships altogether. And with smaller vessels, that'll likely be a lot quicker to finish up. Now what's the scaling here on this one? 86, 65. Alright, so 86, that's the length though. Is it really 50? Oh, 65 I think it was, yeah, 65. And at least that'll be a good way to kind of center it. And I think I want to move it forward. That's not as that unfortunately does not look as good as it did with the... It's probably too high too, isn't it? Let me double check. Well, actually it's quite a ways off, so maybe not. I'm gonna have to wing it a little bit. See how this looks. Now, I want to try one more piece here rather than just ridiculously stretch them out. So one more. Bear with me a moment. This now comes the moment of truth. Whoops, not what I want. Now comes the moment of truth. See if this works or not. And at the very least, it's gonna look decent, I believe, altogether. But does it help the overall design of the ship? I'm not really certain. So again, what are the scale? 86, 65. So 65, 86. That might have to be shortened down a little bit. I'm gonna have to adjust it for a little bit rather. And we'll see. Yep. Doesn't look like it's possible to get perfectly centered. At least what I'm seeing there. Oh, that's probably the scaling, is it? Shouldn't be. I guess as close as I'm gonna get, now we just gotta move everything into place. Try and make it look somewhat flush, although that's gonna be a tall order. This is gonna take a lot of work to do, because of the lighting there. Unless can I stretch this to help fix that some? I don't think so, but we'll try it. And it's becoming apparent that the placement's a little bit off. What's the scale again? 65, 65, 63, so that explains that, but now I guess that's the best I'm gonna ask for there. I don't know if that actually did anything worthwhile, to be honest. If I were to be perfectly honest. I might be just trying too hard, which could be a problem. Anyways, let's get back to the real work. Let's see, can I just put a shell here to fill at the back? Since that's so close to the main superstructure, a shell could hopefully do that. I'm not sure. I just know I want to start using shells and oh god. We got these ridiculous rotations now. This can't possibly go wrong. Just because of those rotations, I kind of want to avoid those shells altogether. That's going to be a nightmare. Now, let me just work on the back here, figure out what to do with this big bald spot. Is there any way I can fix that? Well, really all I need to do is have like a small component sticking out. Do I really want to put more of these on here though? I can get in a way that the lighting sticks out at least easily. I just don't like the thought of having this back end sticking out as well. That's the only problem I have. I think I can get fit in there really well though. It's just a matter of what to do with the remaining leftover pieces that are sticking out. That's the only problem there. I need to adjust the rotation a bit more. Because I can't quite remember what axe rotation was. What does it say? 15 degrees, so that should hopefully be good there. Hopefully. So yeah, that's in there. That helps a little bit. Now, do I stretch it and how much do I stretch it? And again, like I said, that's going to be a bit problematic because of the metal trim. Actually, it might sink in there. Well, that sinks in there pretty well. We still got a little bit of a gap in the back, and that does help a little bit. Not much, mind you. I even think the rotation's a bit off, so I need to consider that too. Almost to the point I need single degree rotation, I think. Because I don't... There. I think 2 degrees is as close as I'm gonna get. Now, do I put more time... Oh god, this is getting annoying really fast. Do I put more thrusters on there, or is there something else I can put in?